Hi guys and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be looking back at the Punchestown Festival, which was last week, and highlighting some of the most impressive performances from 5 days of racing and what races the winners will probably likely go for at next year's Cheltenham Festival and whether they're worth a bet right now at their current prices. So it started the Tuesday and Echoes in Rain won very impressively. I was on her. I think she's a very talented mare, and I think if she had gone to one of the mares' hurdles this year, I think she probably would have won them as well. She looks seriously good. And she'll either go for the champion hurdle next year, I would have thought, or she'll go for the mares' hurdle on the same day, which is 2.5. I would imagine they'll probably go for the mares' hurdle as it'll be a weaker race. But the only negative to that is it is 2.5 miles, but she's yet to run over, I believe. So she's looked very good at 2 miles. And if she can settle over the extra half a mile, then she has no reason why she shouldn't be bang there at the finish. I think if Honeysuckle, I think it could depend on Honeysuckle. If Honeysuckle stays going for the champion hurdle, which I think she will do, I think Echoes in Rain will probably go for the mares hurdle as it will be a weaker race and a much more winnable competition. She's currently 5-1 for the mares hurdle, which is actually a very good price because if she did go there, I think she would be a very hot favourite because it's strong connections as well. She's 12-1 for the champion hurdle. So they're the two races that I think she'll go for, but she's definitely a horse to keep on the right side of next season. Chacun Pour Soi bolted up as well on Tuesday at Punchestown, looked back to his best. I wouldn't be interested in backing for next year's Cheltenham Champion Chase. He's 6-1 for around that price right now. I wouldn't be backing him for that. If he was to win the Champion Chase, he should have won it this year, and he came third. He had no excuses on the day, I don't think. He looks like he just loves racing Ireland. I think he'll go and win lots of races next season as well. But I wouldn't be interested in for the Champion Chase. There's a lot more up and coming youngsters that will probably take on. He'll be 10 next year, so definitely be looking to take him on the next year's Champion Chase, even though he looked really impressive at Punchestown. Cole Reevy finished her career beating Envoy and Monkfish, which was very impressive, and her foal will probably be worth triple, quadruple the amount now. She was really good, jumped for fun on the front end. I wouldn't be giving up on Monkfish, however, I don't think he got the best rise. Paul Tannen was cautious on him again, which I didn't think was great. He's still a novice at the end of the day. He's going to be improving. He's only 7. He's a massive horse, and he'll only improve with the more racing he has. He still ran a good race. I'm still going to back him for next year's Gold Cup. I still think he has the right sort of profile for the Gold Cup. And although he got beat, I still wouldn't be giving up on him at all. I think he's a novice. You can allow him to have one bad run at the end of the day. It's the only defeat of the season for him. So I definitely think at 11-2, I think he's right now. It's a great price because he's going to turn up if he's all fit and well. He's going to be his race. So he's going to turn up in the race. It's good each way bet. And I think he's very talented. Envoy Allen pulled up. He's having scans, I think, on his legs now. There's something not quite right with the horse. I do think if he does get back to next season, hopefully he does, I think they'll more likely go to the Champion Chase over the Gold Cup purely because he seems to have more speed than Stammer, I'd say. I don't think they'll go Ryanair because people want a Champion Chase winner or a Gold Cup winner and don't really want a Ryanair. Plus, they have Allaho for the Ryanair. So I think they'll more likely go to Champion Chase over Gold Cup, but we'll have to wait and see. He's around 9-1 for the Champion Chase, and he's around 16th, I think, for Gold Cup. But I wouldn't be touching him at the minute. You need to see him that he's fitting well before you get involved with that. Galopin des Champs, I tipped him up for my members as well for Punchestown, and he absolutely bolted up. I think I got him around 11-4 for the race, and he went off much shorter. He looks very impressive. I was massively impressed with his Cheltenham win in the last race of the week at Cheltenham. And he beat a horse in Langendan who ran a belter as well. And he pulled a long way clear of the rest and looked well handicapped on the day. I think he's a grade 1 horse in making. I think the key with him is he needs good ground, no worse than good soft. And that looks crucial to him. He looks like a proper chaser in making as well. He'd probably go for RSA. He's favourite for the RSA next year, 8-1 around that. I don't think the Owl at Bartley this year was strong at all. I think it was a very weak race. And that was shown by Benillier doing nothing in the same race that Galopin des Champs won at Punchestown. So I think he had some very strong form. I think he's definitely a horse to keep on the right side of that minute. I'm not sure if they're going to keep him over hurdles or go chasing at the minute because I think next year's RSA could look very hot. but we'll have to wait and see. He's just an exciting horse to watch, and I think for Willie Mullins, he'll only keep improving. But I will be backing whether he goes over hurdles or fences. I think he's a seriously talented horse. He's 8-1 for next year's RSA, and he's 8-1 for next year's Stays Hurdle. So wouldn't be surprised it went either way. The Stays Hurdle looked quite a weak division, I'd say, until Classical Dream bolted up at Punchestown. Classical Dream, he had done nothing since his Supreme win a couple of years back, but he absolutely bolted up on his first try of 3 miles. Looked really impressive. Not sure the form is overly strong, but I had Ronald Pump each way at around 10-1, who finished third, so that was okay for everyone because you got the each way money. But Classical Dream, I'm not sure. Isn't Willie Mullins' horse again? Now, if they think he's seriously good, they might keep Galopin Des Champs. They might send Galopin Des Champs over fences because they know what they have in Classical Dream, which could be a bit of an indicator of what they do with Galopin Des Champs. So, but if they decide to keep him over hurdles, then maybe Classical Dream can be taken on with Galopin Des Champs in the next year's Stays Hurdle. Guy, as you know, I was all over Kilcruck for the champion bumper at Cheltenham. I just so gutted that he got a bad ride by Paul Townend on the day, and Rachel gave Sir Garland a brilliant ride on the front end. But it was finally shown at Punchestown last week that Kilcruck is the better horse, I think. I think it was quite clear. A good, strongly run race. There's no excuses for any of the horses, and Kilcruck just beat them fair and square. Sir Garland finished third in the end. He was quite disappointing, I'd say. Kilcruck looked to win the whole way, I thought. And I don't know why Patrick Mullins decided to ride Sir Garland over Kilcruck. After he knew what Kilcruck was after his Leopardstown victory, I was very excited watching Kilcruck. I think he's a serious horse in making. I think he's probably be a Gold Cup horse one day. He looks to have stamina, speed. He has everything. With regards to where he'll go next season, I think he's going to be the Supreme Ballymore, obviously, for Cheltenham. He's around 4-1, 5-1 for either race because who knows which race he'll turn up in. I have a feeling that he is going to go Supreme because of how the race is run. I said this before, I think in one of my previous videos. He loves a strongly run race, and the Supreme suits this more, as they normally go flat out pace the whole race, whereas the Ballymore can be a bit of a crawl, and then it's a bit of a speed test at the end. And at Cheltenham, in the Cheltenham bumper, that showed that did not suit Kilcruck, as he had too much to do on the run-in, whereas the Supreme, I think, we'll just assume he'll just out-gallop him. And I know Willie Mullins has said he thinks he'd probably be a Ballymore horse, but I wouldn't be surprised at all if he went Supreme with him. And he's worth a bet either race. If you were really, really keen on him like I am, you could back him for both races and just hope he'll turn up in one of them, so you have a bet, because he'll be much shorter on day, I would imagine, assuming he can jump hurdles perfectly fine. So yeah, I'm definitely all over him, and he's definitely worth putting a couple of doubles, I'd say, with a few other horses. For example, Bob Onger for the Marshall Chase. It's around a 25-30-1 double, I think. So yeah, I think Kilcruck will go to Supreme. That is my guess, but that might be wrong. But that's where I think he'll go. Energamine last week at Punchestown was mightily impressive. Again, Paul Townend was very cautious on him, and he nearly fell out the last two, but he looked very good and looks the only horse I think that can take on Shishkin next year's Champion Chase, as that's proven by Allaho. Allaho needs 2.5 miles. It's ridiculous that he went off that short at Punchestown when it's a completely different test, doing over 2 miles to 2.5 miles. Allaho, he stayed on that line. He looks like he wants 2.5 miles, and that's his trip. So I think he's a great price for next year's Ryanair, around 4-5-1, I think he is right now. So Allaho looks a good bet for the Ryanair. I just can't see why they would change his route from that, because he won't stay Gold Cup, and he's not quick enough for Champion Chase. So Ryanair seems made for him. But Energamine's around 5-1 for next year's Champion Chase, and he looks like a very solid each way bet. And hopefully he will actually turn up this year and doesn't get an injury. But I will still be on Shishkin, but Energamine looks of each way bet to nothing in the race. So I think those two will dominate, as Noob Negra was firmly put in his place. Don't think he ran his race, Noob Negra, the other day, as I was a big fan of the horse, but he didn't look anywhere near the winners. So even though they were different races, that was in Chacham's race. But I think Energamine looks seriously good. But I would probably have an each way bet on him, because I can't see the Champion Chase not being won by Shishkin and Energamine, barring they both turn up. Asterion Forlonge looked very good the other day in a grade A handicap. He carried top weight. He didn't really come off the bridle, but I would still have reservations about him. I wouldn't get carried away with him at all, because wasn't put under any pressure. His jumping, jumping's improved a lot, but his jumping was not put under any pressure as he didn't have a rival really up home straight when they're going flat out. So I'd like to see him do it in a proper Grade 1 race first before you start getting interested in backing him in the big races, because it's a completely different test doing you're jumping a handicap where there's no pressure to being in a Grade 1 where they're going flat out the whole way. So I do think I would like to see him do it in a bigger race first before backing for a Cheltenham race, I'd say. A Honeysuckle bolted up the other day. She's now 9-4 for next year's Champion Hurdle. She's just top quality. It's just great to see her win. I was on Sharjah each way at around 9-1, so great to have that each way. And you got to run for your money coming up to last. You thought, oh, is Honeysuckle going to find more? And she did, because she's just that good. I don't think Sharjah he's 20-1 for next year's Champion Hurdle, and he's only an 8-year-old still. So he could have a little bit more improvement. Who knows? He needs the good ground. But he seems to be a very consistent horse. And when Patrick's riding him, he gets a very good tune out of the horse. He seems like the only horse, who out of the current horses who have raced in the Champion Hurdle races this season, that has any chance of beating Honeysuckle if she's on a going day. I don't think Sharjah, I think he's going to struggle to ever beat her just purely because of how he's ridden. He has to be held up in last, and he loves passing horses, whereas Honeysuckle has to be ridden prominently. And Rachel always kicks on the turn in all the race and gets 2, 3, 4 lengths on Sharjah, and it's just impossible to make up the ground on her. But you can't ride him any other way, as he'll just end up further behind Honeysuckle, I'd thought. So just one of those things. But he's a good each way bet at 20-1, I'd say, for next Champion Hurdle. He's going to turn up in the race, I would have thought. If Honeysuckle decide to go chasing, if they want to go chasing with her, then he will probably shorten a lot more. You know what you're going to get with the horse. He's finished second last in both the last 2 Champion Hurdles at Cheltenham. So handles a track 20-1, where others have question marks. They might not go for the race. You can't really go wrong at 20-1. So maybe he's worth a little each way punt. And maybe you just hope that Honeysuckle doesn't turn up on day if you want him to win. But yeah, he's 20-1 for the race. Gail de Menil, I tipped him up for the Ballymore at Cheltenham this year, but he got beat fair and square by Bob Wallinger. I've now subsequently think Bob Wallinger is probably the horse to follow for next year's season, and I think he will win next year's Marsh Novice Chase. I think he's seriously talented, and he's the horse to follow. Gail de Menil, he won the other day, but he beat Ashdale Bob in workmanlike fashion. Wasn't that impressed with the performance, so I wouldn't be getting involved with him at the minute. I think there's more talented horses in the division than him. Stormy Island has come back from nowhere for Willie Mullins. She bolted up on the front end in the Mayor's Champion Hurdle. She's now 8-1 for the Mayor's Hurdle at Cheltenham next year. If she carries on her way she's been running, I don't think a horse could catch her. It'd be fascinating if you had Echoes in Rain and her running against each other in the Mayor's Hurdle next year. Both for Willie Mullins, that would be a fascinating pick. It'd be very tough to decide which way to go. But Stormy Island's come out of nowhere really and surprised me a lot with her last 2 performances. And I think it'd be mad to back against her in a way, because you know what you're going to get. She front runs and she stays well and she jumps well, and she hasn't really been asked a question the last couple of times. So I do think she's one to definitely don't go against her. I backed Concertista against her the other day, but Concertista got beat fair and square, and I've gone off her a lot now. She looks exposed, and I don't think she's actually as good as what she seemed when she won at Cheltenham Festival 2 years back. So I'd worry about her, but I do think Stormy Island's definitely one to keep on the right side of. So guys, also just for my members, just if you want to become a member of Thompson Racing Tips, just head over to my website. I did tip up one of my winning tips from Punchestown, Sully Dock at 6-1 in the handicap. Got a great ride by Simon Torrens. So I had a couple of nice winners in each way bets at Punchestown. So hopefully you guys want to come and give my daily tips a go, and it's only £20 a month to sign up. So hopefully you put a few anti-post bets on for next year's Cheltenham Festival. From the horses I've spoke about today, and hopefully you get some nice prices, and maybe in a few months' time you'll be sitting on some nice bets. So make sure to tune in next time for my next video, and thanks all for listening.